Right. Welcome back to the Black Girl Flow podcast. We are especially excited about our guests today, folks. We have two amazing individuals that are going to bring the life and the energy in this conversation today. We are so privileged to be sharing space with SheSpeakz, the Sisterhood, which consists of Whitney and Jordan, who are both public speakers and content creators with the goal of using their platform to encourage women to see the power in vulnerability, self-accountability, and being their most authentic selves. It's through their own experiences and transparency that they facilitate a safe space, which we love, for their growing following to express, discuss, and be inspired in matters concerned with societal interests, relationships, personal growth, and faith and spirituality. And they desire to share the same sisterhood that they have grown and fostered between each other and the rest of the world. So, yeah, come on, with that bio by itself, they had to be guests. We had to share this space with them in the Black Girl Flow community. So Jordan and Whitney, thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited to get this conversation.
I'm so excited.
Yes, like the energy is already there. Liv knows I always get so giddy when we have guests. So I have to immediately jump into our pulse check. Otherwise, I'm just going to fangirl over y'all's bio and all the conversations that you have. So we always, Black Girl Flow community knows, we always start our conversations with a little bit of grounding. Just hey, how you doing? You know, mental, emotional, physical, whatever resonates. So Whitney, why don't you kick us off? And then we'll toss it to Liv and then Jordan and then myself.
Yeah, so it's the somewhat in the beginning of the year, and we're just trying to figure out 2022 and just figure out who am I in 2022. That's kind of where I am right now. So it's a little bit of Mr. Krabs in that whirlwind, just a little bit.
She said, we asking the big questions. Questions in 2022.
Exactly. So we're just navigating. I'm saying we're. Look, I'm just navigating through this new year.
No, I hear you. I feel like we're all navigating throughout the new year. Like I was telling someone, I've never seen as many people excited for 2022 as I saw excited for like 2020. Like I feel like a lot of people were excited for 2020 and then it kind of ended up being the world's biggest disappointment. And then now I see people getting super excited for 2022 and I'm also feeling that energy, but I'm very cautious just given like the world that we're still living in. But I personally like have been really trying to just spend as much time alone as possible. Like I've been on my antisocial vibes, which is kind of strange. Like I kind of claim being an extroverted introvert. So some people might be surprised by that, but I've been really just trying to spend time alone, getting to understand again, like Whitney said, like who I'm trying to be in 2022. And so I spontaneously decided to book a weekend getaway at the Getaway Cabin. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that.
No.
It's this franchise called Getaway Cabin. It's based in the woods, like 2 hours away from Atlanta. I think they've got different locations and there's like a cabin, but it's glass on the side. So you get like a full view of the forest and it's super they've got a campfire. And so I'm making that like retreat at the beginning of February. Super excited for that. And it was literally right before I was going to bed one night, like a couple nights ago. And I was like, I deserve this. So we are going to see how that goes. But I'm super excited to just spend more time alone and like get to know who I'm going to be for 2022.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. Well, I definitely have not made any impromptu reservations anywhere. But I am feeling pretty good. I have spent, very similar to Whitney, I have spent this first week of 2022. This week was for me. And I think when the year starts, being somebody who's always doing a project, being somebody who's always doing something creative, and also now being a business owner. As the beginning of the year starts, it's like, all right, got to come out as a heavy hitter, got to let people know what's going on, got to get these products, got to get eyes on this, get eyes on that. But this week, I did not do that. This week was for me. This week was for planning. This week was for writing down what I wanted to see happen in 2022. This week was me sitting down and say, all right, girl, what did you do in 2021? And what have you been doing for the past 27 years that ain't right, that we need to get together this year? Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good because I feel like I used strategy for my first my first week in 2022. So I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, definitely.
Love that.
I think this is so interesting. We're on like such similar wavelengths with the pairs of us. Because I'm with you, Jordan. I'm like, I have so many directions pulling me right now. Because like jumped right back into work, right back into all of the things I had left hanging in last year that came a knocking this year. And I'm about to start an Airbnb business and all these things. And I have a laundry list that the more I cross off, the more pops off on it. And I refuse this week to be bothered by it. I don't know what about me woke up and I was like, that list is long and it don't stay long and I ain't gonna be stressed. I was like, I ain't about to be looking raggedy out here. And I was just like moving and I was talking to my boyfriend and he was like, you have a lot going on. I was like, do I? I was like, wow, maybe. I was like, maybe, probably. But I was like, I refuse. I was like, I will not be stressed. He was like, this is so like peaceful. I was like, I will not be bothered. I was like, I am moving at my own pace into this. And I think it's just kind of a grounding, and it kind of is that like the calm before the storm and that like really big sweep of energy. So that really resonates so much with me, what you said, Jordan, of just how I'm entering this space. But I'm like, yeah, that list is long and it's gonna get done, but I'm gonna look cute while I'm doing it. That for sure. For sure.
No, we actually love a good like reflective moment about figuring out like, where am I? Do I need to like cross off some things off the to-do list, or do I just need to relax and like let the to-do list be there and not look at it for a little bit? But I love that. Thank y'all for participating in that pulse check. And as Lexi was mentioning earlier, we're super excited to get into this conversation because we truly believe that y'all's platform of encouraging Black women and women of all shades to just live in their truth, be authentic, be vulnerable, like aligns with our mission as well, and like with our platform, with our community. So again, welcome to the tribe. And for those that don't know about SheSpeakz, I love like a quick background story on y'all's friendship, how y'all got together. I know we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, but like let the people know, give them the context. Whoever wants to kick it off.
I'm gonna let Jordan go ahead. She said so well.
My goodness.
She does it so well.
Oh my gosh. So Whitney and I both went to the University of West Georgia. And we met at a Bible study. A friend invited me to a Bible study. And out of the both of us, I'm more so the introverted one. I kind of keep to myself, and Whitney's kind of the more of the social butterfly. When I tell you she will talk to anybody, it's so crazy because like when we go places, don't let her see anybody that looks like they're from another country. She will, ask them how to say different things in their language and stuff like that. But I'm the more introverted one. So I was in a corner by myself, everybody was mumbling, talking and stuff like that. And she came up to me. I happened to have my afro out that day. And she was like, is that on your hair? And I was just like, what is this girl want? And I was like, yes, it is. And I thought that was just going to be the end of the conversation. And she was like,
oh man. Did Jordan pause for you?
Okay, girl, cool. I was like, it's nice, thinking that would be the end of it.
1 second, Jordan. We might have to do that one over because your audio, it paused. Did it pause for you too, Whitney?
A little bit, but I heard the glitch in her.
Give me 1 second.
No worries. We can.
My laptop just tried to jump to a different Wi-Fi for some reason.
Sound like auto.
You were doing so well too. You're doing so well.
I hate when that happens.
I know. You were in your groove. I hate that we have to go back, but okay. I'm just gonna reopen the conversation again. Okay, so thank y'all so much for participating.
Actually, I'm gonna say it because I want to do my version.
So you don't like what I'm doing?
Not really.
Whatever, girlfriend. Whatever.
Perfect. Thank y'all so much for participating in our pulse check. You know, I love a good reflective moment on, you know, just figuring out what we need to take into 2022 and how we can be our best selves. And like Lexi said earlier, we're super excited for this conversation with y'all because we're talking about friendships. We're talking about all things friendships, and what better people to talk about friendships when y'all literally have a whole platform when it comes to encouraging other Black women to live in their most vulnerable and authentic state and just welcoming them into the tribe. So why don't we just kick it off by getting a little bit more information on y'all's friendship story? Like, how did y'all meet? How did this podcast become what it is? We want all the tea. So I'm going to pass it to Whitney to answer that question.
Absolutely. So the BTS, we kind of talked about it, and Jordan kind of gave her a rendition of how we met, but I would like to, tell y'all how.
Whitney doesn't like my version.
Her version was just a little different.
She said, let's get to the whole truth. She said, no more one part of the story.
Exactly. So I remember we were at a Bible study, and yes, she did have her fro out, and it was really big. And I was just like, now I was the vice president of the natural hair community, and I was like, how is her fro bigger than mine? So I was trying to get a little tea from her, and I was a little salty at the same time. I was like, is that your real hair?
Period. Like,
and of course I did it in the Black girl etiquette manner. I pulled her aside. I didn't do it in front of everybody, but but I pulled her aside and I was like, is that your real hair? Just hoping that she was saying, it's a little extra, girl. She's like, no, it's all my hair. And I'm just like, how long you been growing your hair? Because something is going on. And I remember wanting to continue conversation with her because I had asked a question to the group, and everybody jumped on the answer to the question, but she kind of looked like she was pondering on it. She didn't look like she was just answering the question just to answer the question. It looks like I just thought she was deep. I ain't gonna lie. I thought she was deep. I was like, oh, look at her. She thinking about the answer. Okay. Okay, she's thinking about the answer. She must be real wise. So I'm over here asking her question after question after question, because she looked like she actually got real answers to the question. And from that day, from that Bible study day, we literally, when I say literally, became inseparable. Whenever you saw me, you saw her. Whenever you saw her, you saw me.
And I always like to say that Whitney kidnapped me.
Yes. And I didn't say that we met in college, University of West Georgia, but we did. We met in college at a Bible study. And ever since then, we've been peanut butter and chocolate.
I love that. Yeah, girl. Yeah, you the peanut butter. Peanut butter no and peanut butter.
So, and we started SheSpeakz just from a conversation that we were having on the phone, and I was like, I really wish I could listen into some conversations like this. Like, I genuinely think that would be so interesting and fascinating to hear the insight of people who are in the similar circles of us and their take and their thoughts and how they process things. And I was like, I really wish we had that. And Jordan suggested that we do it. And I was like, oh, you want us to do it? And lo and behold, we came up with SheSpeakz. We started off as a YouTube, but our target market wanted more of a podcast. So we morphed into this YouTube-y, podcasty space.
All of the
So,
things.
Yeah.
All of the things.
I
So dope.
I just love that story because I think so many people can relate to those interactions that you have with people that bind you forever, that you like, that's my people now. Like, you coming with me, we just gonna do this now. Like, say less, ask questions later, just have fun, enjoy the ride. But then I think that it really does spark something when like two friends are just kind of sitting across from each other and one of them's like, other people need to hear this conversation. That's literally near the same story with Liv and I, where it's like, we need to put this out there somewhere. And that's a big ask of somebody. And I think it takes a best friend to call you out or call you actually into that space to elevate that voice. And I think we'll get into that, but I want people to know too, just kind of the type of conversation y'all are having at SheSpeakz too. You know, this isn't just the keys, like y'all are talking about tough things that people are navigating in their life, which is something that we value at the Black Girl Flow community. Is like, we're not always gonna have the answers, but let us know some of your favorite topics to talk about over at SheSpeakz that are kind of these big issues or big topics around relationships and other things that really kind of spark for y'all. So like, I want each of y'all, like Jordan, what's your favorite topics to talk about? And then Whitney, what's yours?
For me, I would say so far, my favorite conversation that we have had would be about sisterhood. Because, oh my gosh, especially in the community of Black women, sisterhood, it just seems like something that is misused or not used properly. And a lot of it has to do with how we were brought up. A lot of it has to do with our own traumas. A lot of it has to do with even, petty stuff that we dealt with in middle school or high school. But us talking about sisterhood and what it should look like, or what a healthy sisterhood looks like, or existing in a sisterhood where you're able to be vulnerable, especially as strong Black women, the things that come with that title. It has definitely been my favorite conversation to have, and also my favorite thing to experience, because I don't know if you guys have this, but usually things that we talk about, we go through it. Like it calls it to attention, it calls it to the forefront in our lives. And so because we have had these conversations, it has made me even measure up friendships that I have in my real life that they don't exist today because we decided to have these conversations, on our platform. And as we sat and as we discussed, it was like, hold up, like, it ain't supposed to be like this. And so just having these conversations and discovering within ourselves, I feel like not only has the conversation been great, but I feel like it has been so beneficial, like to me as a human being. So I would say sisterhood and friendship in general.
I definitely would agree with that. You guys, I don't think people know that we're not supposed to do life without community. I don't think they truly understand that you need a tribe, you need a community, you need people who are older, younger, your same age, peers, mentors, mentees. You need that whole facet of a community. You need masculine people, you need feminine people, you need all of those things to fully grasp life, to get through life. What do you mean? Like, even to enjoy it and to get through it. And sisterhood is something missing within women, but I just speak on the Black women because I don't know too many of the other ones.
I am one, so I can only speak on
it. I can't speak on the Asians. I can't speak on, I love them. But I can't. One. Hey, no. But I can speak on the Black woman in her plight because I am, and we don't really have those solid friendships that help us grow, that cultivate us, that push us, that let us allow us to be ourselves. We really don't have those relationships And I see the importance of sisterhood so much. I really do. Like, I'm really passionate about it. And so when we're able to talk about and encourage other women to seek out strong relationships with other women and not to be afraid and not to shy away and not to be angry or hold on to whatever we're holding on to, that just is my favorite thing to talk about with Jordan, because I love to loose the shackles, y'all, and let us be able to unite. Because when we're united, when we're together, when we encourage each other, when we love on each other, we are better ourselves internally. So that's my thing. I know I sound, hype, but that's
No,
it.
absolutely. And I'm so happy, like, we can feel the passion, and I 100% agree with y'all. I'm not sure if either one of y'all watched Selling Tampa. Have you seen it?
Just started. She told me to start watching it.
Okay, so you finished it, Whitney?
Finished it in the first day.
Okay. Thank you. A fellow binger. That's what I did. I turned that on, and then all of a sudden it was 2:00 in the morning. I was like, dang, it's done. I was like, guys.
Exactly.
Okay, well, wait till next time. But go ahead.
Right. I'm so happy. I won't spoil it too much, but I know that there were a lot of critical feedback when it came to the show, just not showing enough sisterhood amongst Black women. They're like, Selling Sunset, you see, like it can be a little catty at times, but it's like there's still a community and they're still selling homes. Yeah. Selling Tampa just didn't really give that vibe. It kind of felt like they were put against each other in a way. Like, I'm not sure how that ended up being the case, but just the way that they marketed that show, like, why does one of the real estate agents, like, why is she afraid to tell her counterparts that she's getting a divorce? Like, that doesn't make sense, you know, because she's afraid that the other people are going to view her as weak, and like, that's not what should be representative of a sisterhood of Black women, like, at the top of their careers, at the top of the real estate industry in Tampa, selling homes, so that was just something that kind of sparked in my head. And I don't know about y'all, but oftentimes when people are able to witness me and Lex in person, or just like over social media, people are like, oh man, I really want to find my tribe. Like, where's my tribe? And I'm sure y'all get all those comments all the time. And I'm curious, like, what advice would you guys have to people out there that haven't found their tribe? And what should people look out for when trying to find people, to bring in to their tribe?
I love that. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
What should they look out for? You know what? In people, I'm gonna let you answer that, Joy. You want to answer it?
Okay. You gotta think about it. Is it loading? Yeah, it's loading.
I love that. I'm gonna use that. It's loaded. I'm gonna use that in my professional career. I'm be like, oh, boss, don't worry, it's loaded.
Give me a second.
Give me a minute.
I was talking to Whitney the other day, and when I get lost in my thoughts, for some reason I say hello, and that brings it right back. But the advice that I would first give is, don't let any circumstances or any experiences that you've had with other people stop you from being who you are, because that is going to be the main thing that is going to allow you to find your tribe in the first place. So for me personally, I've experienced so much with friendships. My goodness. We could talk for days, huh? But I had to get to a point where I had to tell myself, you don't stop giving love because of the people you gave it to didn't treat it properly. And so I found myself in situations where I had people who were trying to love me, and I was just like, all right, you get a piece. Here's a piece of my love, but they were trying to literally love me unconditionally. And it wasn't until I got to a point where I was just like, just because this happened over here does not mean that it's going to be the same thing right here. And it wasn't until I was able to be myself genuinely and love those people genuinely that we were able to cultivate anything at all. And so that would be my advice. And then that would be also the thing to look out for. Pay attention. People say things with their words, but pay attention to their actions. And don't get me wrong, in friendships, at some point, somebody's going to be more of a friend to the other one in different seasons. But by golly, if it's constantly, you're constantly giving or you're constantly whatever, and the person is just tick, 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 it's going to need to be some reevaluating, because because at this point, you're not a friend, you're a supplier. Ooh. Like you can be somebody that they come to just for encouragement, or you could be somebody that they come to just to get boosted, or you never know. They come to you for $10. When I need to get some chicken wings, let me call Jeremy Cook. I know she'll give me somebody for that. If I just tell her I'm hungry, And so at that point, it's not a friendship. It's a what they say in science, they a parasite. Oh. It's not a mutual relationship. Okay. Right. So yeah, that would be my advice, is to don't stop being yourself. And then things to look out for is look at the transaction, see how it's flowing.
I definitely agree with you, especially with, the self portion. I really feel like, how can you say, like, friends are just a secondary thing of what's happening within you. Like, what kind of friend are you to you first? And then when you're able to be able to friend a good friend to yourself, you're able to be a good friend to other people. And I feel like you attract, so that tribe comes to you. I actually feel like it's you attract those type of people. But if you're a toxic person, you usually attract toxic people. I just find that to be true. I mean, do you agree? Y'all agree?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I also think toxic people love ruining normal people's lives.
They
I don't think a lot of good comes to them for a lot, but I do think they're like, you stable. Oh, you stable. Oh, you look good. Oh, and you look good. Okay. Yeah. We're going to ride this coattail for a little bit. So, and I'm like, well, what did I do?
Okay, yeah. So that definitely makes sense. But like for me, I found it's very easy for me to make friends. And not that I have a lot of them, but it's just easy for me to make friends because it's like there's something I feel like I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying, like, I feel balanced within myself, so I can tell an unbalanced person. So it's just like, oh, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be that close to you. You're not that balanced.
And I feel like you get to that point when kind of like what Jordan was saying is like you spend the time alone, like you're aware of who you are and like what you want to align with. And I think a lot of people that are like, oh man, I haven't found my tribe yet. Like I was that person. But at the same time, I'm very extroverted. On the outside, it might have looked like I had a lot of people around, but I've always been like, I want a core group of people. They don't have to necessarily be in the same group, but like people that I can trust, depend on, rely on. And for a long time, I just saw a lot of unbalanced people, or people that just didn't really align with who I was personally. And so I felt like I had to be comfortable being alone for a very long time. Even throughout college, like me and Lexi kind of got closer my junior year, after I came back from studying abroad. So like the second half of my junior year, like I was almost out of there. She's a year ahead of me. She was almost out of there too. So it's like, I went through most of college kind of being like, okay, like, I know where I can get my extroverted like energy. Like, I know where I can go to for friend-like banter, but for my tribe, like it took me to get there. And so just be patient with the process. And I would just tell people, get to know yourself on a personal level and be okay with being alone until you, like Jordan was saying, like attract the people that fit your values and stuff.
But I think it does. Oh, go ahead.
Now Liv's got like, she calls them the Holy Trinity. She's like, y'all locked in. She's like, this who we going down in history with. I'm like, okay, I don't remember signing a contract, but this feels really tightly
But I
bound.
guess.
Here comes the Holy Trinity. Okay.
They all just woke up one day in a group chat and I was like, so yeah, this is what's happening. Like, I don't care if y'all don't know each other, but this is how we're moving now. So
Yeah, that's what's up.
Beautiful.
yes,
Yeah.
we will do that.
And that even tells a lot about you, that you were able to be alone for a period of time. I feel like, you know, even though sisterhood is super important and I feel like a tribe is important, if you're seeking it out and you don't have, I like how you were selective about it, because you could have added anybody into your circle. Everybody, there's a lot of people there, you know, you could have went
Right.
clubbing with some crazy people or whatever. But
Right.
I like how you were selective of the people who you called your sister and called your part of the tribe.
And there's something really beautiful too, about like when you have that insular circle, like Liv said, she's pulled from a couple. She was like a childhood friend, like a high school friend, and then a couple of college friends. And now, like, we just recently went on a birthday trip for her birthday before COVID really came out and said hello to everybody. Like, we didn't know, like it was there, but we didn't know. But we went on a trip and I told her, I said, wow, I was like, thank you for sharing your tribe with me, because now your friends are becoming my friends. Like, it was like the most beautiful, like, I'm exposing you to the people that are nearest and dearest to me. And a lot of my friends, Liv knows because we all went to college together, or she's kind of gotten to know them now. But seeing in that, I was like, it was this moment where, which I think is really beautiful in friendships, when you can sit back and say, I love that for you. And like, thanks for sharing that piece of this with me. Like, I know I'm along your side journey, but to see other people and their perspectives and how they see you, like, that's just a really beautiful process. And I think that's the piece of it that we talked about, not only cultivating it, but just when you see a good friendship and you see somebody pouring into each other in a healthy way, sometimes you just got to clap it up and be like,
Absolutely.
hey, especially for Black women, you just got to be like, hey, that's what we should be doing. That's what we should be doing. Because Liv was the one, she had me fooled thinking she was like, I don't have any friends, but she the one that like, we could go. So I'm like you, Jordan, I'm the introverted one. Like, if I'm going out, I ain't saying nothing to nobody unless I'm asked a question. Like, if I'm going with people I already know. Like, I'm trying to be as less stressed and pressed as I can be. Olivia, I turn the corner and she's talking to the stranger next to her. And she's talking to the owner and the barista. And she's like, where's the best place to go? Oh my gosh, we're going there tomorrow. Do y'all think you could show us around? And I'm looking at her because she's like, I'm such an introvert. I'm like, dude, your social battery's drained because you out here talking to strangers. You're talking to strangers. And so it's just it's so wild to see that kind of dynamic as well, because it's like, you just see how it can be misleading at times, because then she's like, oh, I'm really struggling with who's my rocks. And I'm like, really? Because you are hella social. So I think we have to hold kind of all of the different ways people enter into cultivating really strong sisterhood relationships. And that's why I appreciate y'all's perspectives, because I think that helps add, that's like, you don't got to just go and tell somebody like, you my friend now. You got to be selective sometimes. You got to talk to strangers sometimes. You also got to keep to yourself and like, don't.
Yeah, and you can really tell a friendship by the fruit of that friendship. Like you just said, that the fruit of your friendship was more friendship. She invited you and invited her. I'm sorry. She invited you to her friendship circles, and now those people are familiar and comfortable with you. The fruit of you guys' relationship was growth, and that's how you can tell a good friendship. If it's decaying, if you feel like, if you're one of those friends that say, this my best friend, can't nobody have no best friend, you know, those people are like, oh my God, this my best friend, what you talking about? That ain't your best friend. You know, those people, what is the foundation and what is the fruit? Because it looks like decay to me. Like it's just you two. So whenever y'all go into y'all little imaginary world, you know, and y'all signing off on each other's craziness, there's no other person that can tell you that both of y'all are being crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. There's that certain level of accountability, and just even reflecting on Insecure, Molly and Issa's friendship. Like you see sometimes, like even when you might have a rock in your life, y'all are in completely different seasons, and like sometimes y'all both can't pour into each other. Sometimes y'all don't see eye to eye. Like it gets rough when you're in the thick of adulting and you're like, okay, I have to make a decision. Either I want to like grow by myself and leave this friend behind because they're not growing with me, or I'm gonna, you know, respect them where they are, continue growing. Like there's so many decisions that we kind of have to make within our friendships as an adult. And it's also kind of hard meeting new people, you know, as an adult when you might be in a new hometown and like all of your other friends, like all of the comparison that comes with that. But I know that y'all having y'all's platform together like has its advantages, but it also has its challenges. And we just were curious, like, what have you guys learned about yourself through having this platform, like with your best friend? Because it's great, it's awesome, it's amazing, but sometimes, you know, again with the whole seasonal thing, like Lexi might be in a busier season than I am. I might be in a busier season than Lexi. Right. We're both just burnt out.
Exactly. No,
you know? So how do y'all navigate that?
How do we?
Dude, we get upset with each other. We get so angry with each other.
And it's so crazy. The day that you guys we got like this synopsis of like what we were going to be talking about today or whatever. We had just got done. We had just got done having a tiff.
Right.
You know, you want to talk about sisterhood and friendship. You know, we just got done having a tiff. But the thing about Whitney and I is I don't know if it was an unspoken rule. I don't think we ever looked at each other and said, this is what it is. But there is this understanding that I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. And so it kind of makes, even those things do happen, different seasons in your life come, or we may bicker and fight or whatever, or, you know, the hard decisions have to be made. It doesn't make it easier, but it makes it more doable to understand that this is not something that's going to break what we have. This is not something that's going to deter what it is that we built already. And so how do we deal with those challenges is different with every situation, but we always go into it with the understanding that we in this together at the end of the day. We are in this together. And so like I said, every situation is unique. Some situations we handle it with so much grace. We sit down, it's like, this. I didn't like when you this. Well, I didn't like when you that. All right, so here's what we got to do from here on out. Other times is, well, you did it, and you did it. Like it's not good, but we both understand we're in this together and we exist in this together. And so I feel like that understanding is what allows us to be able to navigate it the way we do.
Y'all, let me tell y'all, because everybody loves a good story. I live 2 hours away from Jordan.
Jordan said, hey. Go telling our business.
I'm just trying to see what she about to say.
I live 2 hours away from Jordan. So I'm coming to her house to do some stuff for SheSpeakz, right? I come to her house and Jordan looks so nice. She's got the makeup on, she's got the clothes on. I got sweatpants and a sweatshirt on, and I'm like, what are we doing? She's like,
and I have set, because we film at my house, so we have the camera set up, setting up the lights, everything.
She says, I said, what are we doing? And she says, we're filming. And I'm like, I thought we were doing podcasts.
And we had.
I'm talking about that was probably one of the biggest SheSpeakz blowout that we've ever had, because, and I was just like, when did I say that? You said this, da. When did I say that? Da. We had to sit in the living room with her husband. Her husband's about the mediator. He's sitting there with his tea in his hand. In his pajamas. And he's like, Whitney, what do you think, Whitney? And I'm like, she don't. And then, okay, Jordan, what do you think? And he literally had to mediate that whole. It was
Jordan,
crazy.
tell Whitney what you heard her say.
Not to tell me what you heard.
And it was so important. And I think the way we navigate through that is by, one, knowing that we're not disposable to each other. We know that we're not going anywhere. And then two, being very, very, very honest of how we feel. Mm-hmm. You know, I think there was one time when I said, I'm jealous that you have a husband. Was it a boyfriend at the time? I'm jealous you have, was it a husband or boyfriend? Was he a husband? I was like, I'm jealous that you have, I'm gonna say husband. I'm jealous you have a husband right now, and I don't have anybody. Mm. I had to say that. Do you know how
and you know, I could have been like, girl, you tripping.
Yeah. We had to have that conversation because it was getting in the way of our friendship. And do you know how little I felt to say that? Like, that's not easy to say. I'm upset that you have a husband and I'm by myself. Mm-hmm. That's not easy to say. Mm-hmm. And so, because I valued our friendship, I had to have those super honest moments. But again, you don't get those honest moments without first being honest with yourself. That's why I always say friendship starts with, you know, a balanced and healthy self.
Yeah. Just everything y'all said, because Liv and I have plenty had a time. What I like to say is, I'm like, oh yeah, we tried to end the podcast a couple times, and we take turns. We take turns. Liv's like, I'm done. I'm like, that's funny. That's funny. And then she comes back, and I'm like, this is not the season for this. And she's like, and you're hilarious. That's hilarious. And we checked each other hard, and we've learned so much about our communication style. But it really is, I think for myself and what has been valuable is I always trust the intention of Liv. Mm-hmm. That even when I'm mad as hell, and we often, it's blurred lines. Like, we'll go from talking about our day in the middle of voice memos to each other to like, oh wait, did you do this thing for the podcast? I forgot to tell you. You know, so sometimes that gets blurry when we don't have like, oh, we're only talking about it this time. Mm-hmm. But I think I always have to trust the intention of like, okay, she said that pissed me off, or she's not doing this thing. But I know she's still a real one. We gonna keep her around. We still love, like, she's got a lot to offer. We've been through it. Like, I gotta be telling this. I have the affirmations. I'm like, she's kind, she's beautiful, she's smart and intelligent. And then I can be like, okay, and now here's what we need to do. Mm-hmm. But I stay saying, I'm like, the world through your eyes is so fascinating sometimes. I'm like, because that's what you heard me say. That's what you heard me do. And so Liv, you can speak on that too, because I know, like, I also think I'm always right. So Liv has to deal with, Liv has to deal with I'm like, but I'm right.
I mean, it is definitely like the sister that I didn't have growing up, because, you know, she's older, and so she does kind of come off as like the wise older sister, and sometimes I might have to learn something on my own. But like she was saying, like, the intention behind it is something that we keep at the forefront. And Lexi and I, before we even had the podcast, like in college, we had gotten into it, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, but through that argument, we really had to redefine what our friendship looked like, because we had expectations of each other that no one was aware of. you know, and that was something where we actually needed to take a couple of weeks to ourselves to really reflect on and then come back together, and it made us stronger than ever. And since then it's never been like, we don't really argue very often, but like if there is, if we feel some sort of way, we're comfortable enough to bring it up to one another. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm very non-confrontational. I do not like confrontation at all. Lexi's like, give it to me straight. And if you can't give it to me straight, don't bring it, please.
Oh, if you don't come to the door, knock hard.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. She's like, I do not want to beat around the bush. Let me know how you, and I kind of have to ease into it a little bit. And she's also someone that's like more hyper communicative than I am. Like I'm someone that might make mental notes on certain things and be like, okay, noted, instead of bringing it right up right then. I'm just like, okay, like I'm in my head, I'm kind of like, you know, just assessing it because I'm processing. And sometimes I might not have the words to communicate, but Lexi always has the words to communicate. So we have to meet each other where we are. And this podcast, where we're literally like, you know, forced to communicate with each other when it comes to business, when it comes to topics, when it comes to strategy, like it's elevated our friendship in a way that we couldn't have even like imagined when we were really going through it. Because whoo child, that was a moment. That was a moment for sure.
So what if y'all feel like your communication styles, because y'all obviously have two different approaches and two, you know, so what's kind of been like the biggest, Jordan's like still learning.
Our communication style is so different.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I guess I'm starting to learn a little bit more about myself and how I communicate. Because Jordan, well, how would you? I'm trying to place where you communicate differently in different scenarios, but I think mostly you communicate like, okay, so I'm a big picture kind of person, and then Jordan is a detailed person, if that makes any sense. Like I see, okay, we're going to Cancun.
And I'm like, how we getting there?
Yes. So I don't think about it, I don't care about it, but you need both of those communication styles, because Jordan might take a while to, you know, say, all right, I think I want to go to Cancun, because she's thinking of all the steps and it's tripping her up on, you know, the bigger picture. And me, I will book a flight to Cancun in the future. I really will.
With no way of getting to the airport, with no hotel.
I really will.
Me and Whitney are like eye to eye. We're eye to eye. I feel you on a very
y'all the same brand of reckless is what you're telling us. Y'all the same brand. That's what you're telling me. I was aware of Kirkland. I was aware of Great Value. I didn't know reckless was packaged like this, y'all.
And we love it over here. We love it over here.
We do, because we're free.
We are free.
But no, so like I with me doing the big picture, I very often find myself like, ooh, I need to, you know, some bags to pack, or I need the details. Like I'm missing so many details, and I get there and I'm like, it works out for me. It eventually works out, but it's less stressful when you have things in place where that's where Jordan comes in. So even in our branding, our task for our business and everything, I'm a big picture kind of person. I'm like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have a conference. And she's like, how much is it?
Look, we're gonna get a DJ. The DJ is gonna come out of the sky. We're gonna come down in a helicopter, and then we're gonna feed them 5-course meals. And I'm just like, who's funding this? Beyonce? You have her number?
And I'm telling you, I get so frustrated and mad, because it's like, you don't see, you know, that great plan. You don't see what I just said. So our communication definitely butts head a lot, because I feel like she's tearing down my big idea, and I have to have a space where I feel my big ideas are safe.
Olivia, stop. No, stop relating. Stop relating, Olivia. Stop relating. We have to shut this production down because it's gonna take me a while to undo. She'll be like, I'm like Whitney, Lexi. I'm like Whitney.
Yes.
And I'm so blunt. I'm like, Whitney, you're pissing me off.
Oh my God.
And she's like, what do you mean I'm pissing you off?
I was taught Oreo method. Say a compliment, say whatever the gripe is, then follow it up with the compliment. That's how I was taught. This girl will be like, you doing too much. I'm like, what do you mean? You can't say that to me. I know who I am.
You love my vision. Didn't say I'm doing too much. Didn't say your imagination is beautiful. I'm not like that.
I will literally fix it for her. I will say it for her.
You
I
will
will
tell me what to say. And she's like, now say that. And I'm like, I'm not saying that.
That is so funny. Right.
Hey, we have the exact same. I think I'm probably a little bit more, I'm just to myself over here, Jordan. So Liv will come at me with all these things and I'll just be like, that's so interesting. Are you planning on making all that happen? Like, because that's gonna be a lot. Do you have enough time on your plate? She's like, no, I was like, oh no, I'm not in the business of wasting my time because I don't think that could happen. So I'm a little bit more nuanced, and she's like, oh, it probably can't happen. I'm like, right. But I will give credit, Liv. I'll give you your marbles. I'll give you your flowers. There have been times that I have trusted her vision, and we have gone places that I couldn't have even imagined. And I'm like, dang, what other ideas you got up there? I'm like, you got some good ideas. And so there has been some moments that I'm like, wow, she has what's brewing up there is just purely magic. I don't have it. It's a little questionable sometimes.
And I can say the same thing for Whitney, because Whitney will be like, if Whitney could right now, Whitney would be like, let's message Michelle Obama. And I'd be like, for what? But there have been times where she has either reached out to somebody, started talking to somebody, or like, she's like, let's go to this event. It costs $75. And I'm like, girl, I'm not paying $75 to go nowhere and drink no mimosas and talk about business. I'm not doing that. But we go there and then we gain like 200 followers over there. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, there are some things that she'll come up with and I'm sitting there like, girl, ain't nobody about to do that. And it's like, okay, we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it and say with you. And we've had we've met people, we've gained followers, we've gained constant supporters, all types of stuff. Just look, and the list goes on. Keep saying, what else? Just because of her crazy idea. So I agree with you, Lexi, definitely. I have to.
That's crazy how that is communicated to you, Lexi, as wasting your time. That's so funny.
No. I mean, what Lexi honestly will do, I'll go to her with a big idea and she'll be like, oh, okay. Well, did you think about this? And I'll be like, okay, 1 second. And then I'll go back. Okay, what about this now? And then she'll be like, okay, all right. Well, did he think this through? I'm like, 1 second. So it's not, and then, you know, sometimes she's just like, all right, like, I'm gonna help you try to get there right now. Like, what are you thinking? Like, just trying to grasp on. She's like, oh, well, do you mean this? I'm like, yes, I'm so sorry. I completely miscommunicated my idea. So we're literally the same people. That's all that I've learned right now. Different bodies, different podcasts.
But I think what it really illuminates, and what I think the core of sisterhood is Whitney, it ties right back to what you said earlier. We're better in relationships. Yes. We're better in community. And I think what's so important, and Liv and I talk about this, it's healthy conflict. Life is not roses. It's not rainbows and unicorns. And it's about working through those things to completion, you know, through the conflict, through the good times, through the sad times. That really is what develops and is the investment in relationships that's really invisible to the eye. But when you make that investment, the byproduct of that is exactly what I think we've been talking about, which is just authenticity and transparency. Then now there are key moments that we can say, I'm better for that. I'm better for this. And now I don't just want you to eat, I want others to eat too from this buffet. And we got to make sure that others are coming to this, because this has fed us for so long. And I think for particularly Black women, nothing about us, because Liv knows I say it probably on a monthly basis. Like if it's a hill I'm gonna die on, it's something for Black women. Like that's what we know. And so it's what we know is that nothing about the way that we exist is one dimensional. It's dynamic. It's essential for us in order to have healthy romantic relationships. We got to have healthy friendships. We got to have healthy familiar relationships.
Always say that.
We got to have healthy community relationships. And I just think that this, if people can get one thing from this conversation, besides all of our keys and our celebrations, it's really that like this takes intentionality, but this can help propel you to the life you're trying to cultivate for yourself and for others. And joining that sisterhood pack, that's how we can hop on this call and we can immediately relate. And there's just something so warm about that I wish that for all my sisters, even the ones that I don't even know I have right now, in this journey. So I appreciate all of that, because I think, Whitney, it brings to circle everything you said at the very top of the episode, of just that, like, this is how we're meant to be existing. Like, let's not get it twisted. Let's not get distracted. This is what it's about. It's these moments.
Absolutely. And we could literally talk to y'all all day about friendship and sisterhood. We're obviously all so passionate about it. But one thing we really love to ask our guests is, what does flow mean to y'all? So we're gonna pass it off. Just think about it, resonate with it. What does flow mean to y'all? We love the thinking faces.
Yes. There's so many things that come to mind. I would say the first thing is. Uh-oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I guess, the ability to change, and I think one special thing about friendship is the ability to change with each other. So when I hear the word flow, I'm thinking, someone who's able to bend and move and just kind of go according to both of your lives together, if that makes sense. Basically, like going through the ins and the outs and the ups and the downs with each other, people changing, because we're not consistently the same person. The person I am today is not the person I was a year ago. And Jordan's very aware of that, but she's have the capability and the love for me to flow with me as I morph into, more of the woman that I'm trying to be and trying to, and the things I'm trying to accomplish, if that makes sense. So flow, as it concerns friendship, is kind of just growing together. Yeah.
When I think about flow, I think about freedom and is genuinity a word? Oh my gosh. Being able to be genuine, being able to just be who you are unapologetically, and to exist in that, and to have peace with that. Whether it has to first be with yourself, of course, and then being able to do it in relationship with other people. Because I feel like so much of life's experience is robbed from us because we're so busy trying to live another life. So either somebody that we're trying to emulate, a vision of ourselves that we had in our head, that, whoever we thought it was that we're supposed to be, and we're trying to consistently like line up with that person, versus genuinely being who you are, existing in that space. And like Whitney said, we're constantly changing, constantly. And sometimes when we have our toughest battles is when we fight against that change. And so being able to be present and be genuine and be authentic with yourself first and then with other people. And if that changes, if that whatever, go the heck with it.
Mm, mm,
Absolutely. We love that. I always get so excited hearing what people like how they interpret that word and like what comes into their mind, like what images. So
Mhm.
love that, ladies. And are there any new projects that we should be aware of before we close out? Like what how can people keep in touch with you? Like drop those social handles, have no shame doing so.
Absolutely. So we are SheSpeakz across the board, SheSpeakx. So that She Speaks with the X. On Instagram and on Facebook. Podcast is on all your favorite platforms. Okay. So look us up. We're there. And then as far as future projects coming up, we are actually looking into doing meetups. Because something that always happens with us when we go to events, people always be like, we should hang out. And we should be like, okay. And we were doing events before. We did something called Curls Night Out, where we spoke to um, different groups of women and college girls, and we likened the process of healing and growth to the process of taking care of your natural hair. And we loved it so much. We experienced so much love from it. It was so crazy standing in front of people and speaking and seeing your words impact them. I tell you, it was the craziest. Anyways, so we did events in the past, and so we just want to get back to doing that, but we want to do it more so on the scale of sisterhood.
Yeah.
So when we do these meetups, we'll be having conversations about sisterhood, kind of similar to how we do on the podcast, just with more than just us, and meeting up with women, probably multiple times a year, as well as we are looking into doing a conference. That is one of Whitney's biggest desires. And of course, I desire that too. We would just want to do it right. So those are on the to-do list right now. It's the meetups and a possible conference.
wow.
I love that. Those are some I feel like we just got the tea. This is
Like,
Yeah, this is exclusive.
what? That's so
Yes.
exciting. Wow, 2022 has so much in store for y'all, and we're so excited to like keep up with y'all. And this has just been such a rejuvenating conversation. Like we've been saying, like sisterhood is so important to us. So thank y'all so much for joining us on the Black Girl Flow
Thank you
podcast.
so much for
Yes, y'all are now part of our tribe, and we're so grateful.
having me.
And we're just like we're both like just accelerating with our platform. So cheers to that. And like always, we like to end our episode with peace, love, blessings. Y'all take care, and we will see y'all next time. Bye.